I'm going to talk us through my experiences of utilising digital badges with a view to try and improve engagement within students, get them to study better, and overall improve their employability skills. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Chris Barlow. I lecture on the Accounting and Finance programme here within the Management School, so on the undergraduate programme as opposed to postgraduate. In terms of what we're going to go through and talk you through in the next 15 minutes or so is, where have I got to in this journey? Okay, so what initially prompted the use of digital badges? What did I learn? And what am I looking to do moving forward? Okay, so what we've got there is, I wouldn't say ironic, but it's quirk of fate, I suppose, that you've got the Learning and Teaching Conference taking place tomorrow. I was at the Learning and Teaching Conference way back in 2016, I think it was, and I heard a talk delivered by a member of staff from the medical school, and they introduced me to this idea of the flipped classroom. They had a module that was quite dry in its content. I think it was all about the anatomy. Okay, so, labeling, this is an arm, this is a leg, this is your head. Okay, a little bit more medical detail than that. Okay, and it sounded quite fun and quite interesting in terms of what they'd done with regards to that flipped classroom. So it got me thinking about one of the modules that I delivered in the first year at undergraduate level, which was business and management. So to give you a bit of the background about what the module involved, it was an introductory module to the accounting and finance students about what a business was all about. So looking at the different types of business structure, companies, sole traders, partnerships, looking at how companies were set up in terms of the operations, such as sales, marketing functions, finance functions, HR functions. And I taught it for a year or two, and I'll be honest, it was pretty boring. Okay, I could see the students sat there. As much as I was trying to get them engaged and interested, there's only so much that you can tell them about how a HR function works, finance, operations work. They're like, oh, seriously, get on with it, Chris. I was like, okay, right. So I was like, right, I'm going to flip the classroom. So I decided in 2018, 2019 to flip the classroom round. But I continued with the main aspect of assessments on there, which was the group work. Okay, so I had concerns, I think, as most people do. This was pre-COVID, before everything had just gone a little bit crazy with online learning. So my concerns about the flipped classroom was that nobody will get involved. Okay, so I was concerned about the students' motivation. So that's motivation to get the videos done. Motivation to come to the workshops, even though they were fun and engaging. And then as part of the group work, I was always thinking, right, what can we do in terms of recognition? How can we recognize that we've got a top performing group? How can we recognize that we've got a really engaged students within the module itself? They've watched the videos, they've attended the workshops, and they're doing really well. Okay, to highlight that to their employers. Well, Charlie, this might not mean anything to you, okay, those images there, but that is the scouting movements, the girl guiding movement. So I'm sure many of us have been involved in the Cubs, the Scouts, the Beavers, the Guides, the Brownies, Rainbows, or whatever else it may be, and will have received the badge. You were probably made up to get the badge. Your parents weren't, because they then had to sew it onto your uniform, okay? I never appreciated the frustration of your child receiving a badge until my son and daughter are now members of Beavers and Brownies, and every time they get a badge, they're so happy. Mum and dad aren't. Okay, yeah, it's over to Granny to go through and sew them on. Likewise, as well, from the kids' experience, Blue Peter. Everybody wanted a Blue Peter badge when they were young. I never got one. My kids have. They're made up. And the ones on the right there is the Blue Peter 7 badges of summer that they did during COVID. And that really went through and showed me that these badges can provide not just recognition, but motivation for children. I've never seen my daughter so engaged in trying to get all of those 7 different badges. Okay, it really did give me a little bit of an idea. To the point whereby she's so engaged with the badges and loves them so much. We were over in Media City last year. As we were walking back from England women beating, I think it was Austria women 2-0 in the opening game of the European Championships, we walked through the Blue Peter Garden, and lo and behold, we came across the the gold and blue Peter badges, which only the most famous people get. And there she is next to David Attenborough's gold badge. Okay, maybe one day Holly will appear on that pavement as well. You never know, but it just shows how much it can motivate and how much it gives you in terms of the recognition. Likewise, as well as, you know, things have moved away from the physical badges. We're in the world of micro-credentials and online badges. So I began to see students who've graduated sharing their achievements at PwC and IBM. So yeah, it was all about thinking, right, maybe we can use this idea of badges, digital badges as a micro-credential to go through there and give recognition and also maybe a little bit of motivation to do well on the module. So what I did, Will, I think you're still there. You cast your mind back to this back in 2018, 2019. It was a lot of your help that was involved in securing a little bit of funding so that we could use a digital badging awarding platform called Credly. And then Will took out lots of time as well to create digital badges that represented the management school undergraduate skills that are expected of someone who spent 3 or 4 years with us within the management school. So we had these wonderful badges. The students were able to share them via Credly on LinkedIn. What did we go through and award them for? Well, in terms of the group work, there was little things there in terms of a team player. So they had to have some peer feedback. So the students that performed the best on the peer feedback, we were able to award them a digital badge for that. The group work involved around an online business simulation. So we went through there, and the students that performed well on the simulation generated the most profit. We were able to go through there and award them a badge for IT literacy. And then at the end of that group work, there was a presentation that they had, and also as well, there was a report. So yeah, again, we gave them a digital badge for their communication skills in terms of verbal and non-verbal. In terms of the flipped classroom and how we kept the players motivated there, what we did is in each of the workshops on the flipped classroom, we kept the students in groups, okay? Yeah, and we set up a little bit of a competition between the groups. So simple things like just for attending, they got marks. If someone in their group didn't attend, they got no marks. There's motivation to come along. You're letting your team down. We had quizzes, we had online wikis, and the students that performed the best went through there and ultimately received more points, and it got quite competitive. And if memory serves me right, I think we named the groups after big cats as well, okay, just to keep it a little bit of fun and interesting. Likewise as well, we went through and awarded a commercial awareness badge, and that worked well in terms of getting students to complete a little bit of real world experience, linking the HR function, finance function, operations and marketing to real world businesses. So bringing in that little bit of research skills as well. Yeah, so we were able to go through and award those badges, which was great. We even had a physical in-person badge awarding ceremony, which was great. And there's me at the front. And in terms of how it worked, 59 badges were issued. So there was about 100 people in the class. 5 different badge categories, which were spoken about there. 29 were shared on LinkedIn. And there were 523 impressions therein. Okay, so really helping the students who were successful to build that online presence at an early stage within their university career before they go off to apply for placements, internships, etc. That was 2019. What were the challenges? Well, COVID for a start, but let's put that to one side. You know, the challenges there in terms of carrying on with using digital badges. One is a cost. It wasn't cheap to use Credly. And also creativity as well, creating those badges. I am an accountant by trade. Yeah, I am not allowed to be creative. I can, but if I get caught being creative, I'll get myself into an awful lot of trouble. Yeah, so how did I address the cost and the creativity issues moving forward? Well, Will dropped me an email 1 month. He's like, Chris, have you seen that Badger is integrated into Canvas? I was like, Will, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. So there is a badge awarding platform integrated into Canvas called Badger. So that solved one of the issues in terms of cost. Creativity, I'm actually reasonably creative. If you go out there, there's loads of free badge creating platforms. The one that I found, the one that I've used, which I think is quite good, is badge.design. Okay, you can go through there, create all sorts of different badges, different shapes, different symbols. different titles, different logos. The only frustrating thing is with it is that once you've saved the badge, if you then realise you've made a mistake, you've got to go right the way back to the start. You can't edit the badge itself. So that's just, I'm not complaining. It's free. Okay, so what can we do? And there's plenty of other badge awarding platforms out there, or badge creation platforms that are free as well. Here's a couple of examples of those that I created. So this is for my skills module in first year. This is for my employability module in the second semester of first year. And what we've done here is we've added in some branding. So we run an assessment centre with a company called GradCore. So we've run it through them to put in their logo there. And then the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, we were able to get their permission to award the badges with their logo on, because it adds that little bit more kudos, credibility when you go through, not just to see the Liverpool Management School, but also professional service businesses and one of our biggest suppliers. What's great about these badges and the fact they're integrated into Canvas is that the students can go through there and share them on LinkedIn directly. So there's a post from Sarah, one of our first year students on the skills module. But what I really like is that it then sits there permanently as a micro credential within their licenses and certifications. Similarly, similar badge awarded again. Well, what I wanted to show here is that if you just go through and click on the badge itself on LinkedIn, it takes you to the micro credentials websites where it's been awarded. And gives you the reasons why it has been awarded. What's even better is that if you click on here and you can set it up in any way which you like, it's been offered by me. If you click on that, I think I've set it to go to the management school's website. You could set it to take it to your own LinkedIn profile if you want, or any website that you so wish. And it just adds that little bit more credibility to it all. What was great in finding all these badges on LinkedIn the other week, I found one of our current students, Hannah, who's working at the Mercedes Formula One team in a finance function. As part of a placement, she's actually earned herself a digital badge, and that was just last couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? Back at the end of May. So we're using them on the module, we're using them on the programme. They're being used by students when they're out there on placements and internships as well. Okay. So what are the next steps? What we're looking to do? Further implementation across other modules as well. I do think it serves as a great recognition tool. I'd like to do a little bit more research, or actual research, into the motivation behind them. I'm not convinced just yet that it does provide motivation to the students. They like the recognition, but does it push them to do that little bit better? I'm not sure. What we'd like to do as well as part of the higher education achievement record, students get that at the end of the degree. Can we have some sort of micro credential awarding as we go along to give them that recognition as part of CVs, etc. The challenge that I faced, I suppose, is getting the engagement with LinkedIn. So simple task. I just assume that if a student got the email and it said, this is your digital badge, they click on the link to upload it to LinkedIn. Maybe that's not the case, so they need some instructions, even though you think, seriously? And then, maybe getting involved in a little bit of the research in terms of the success with regards, not necessarily the recognition, but as we mentioned, thinking about the motivation. Okay, I really think if we can drive that motivation through the use of digital badges, maybe some sort of tiered, structured way. I always remember at Cubs, there was like 3 arrows. There was a bronze, a silver, and a gold. Called a nod to the head. It's like, we remember those ones. I haven't got a clue what they were for. I can't remember these days. But I'm sure that motivated me to try and get the gold one. So if it's structured and tiered, maybe that might help there. Okay. So there's my contact details. There's the email address. There's all the socials for the management school. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Other than that, if you've ever got any questions at all about creating the badges, awarding them via LinkedIn and how to set it up, or awarding them on Canvas, there we go, then happy to go through and answer any questions.